Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a journey into a beautifully profound, heartwarming fable. It's drawn straight from a traditional narrative about the raw power of unwavering belief, especially when you're facing absolute adversity. You know, this isn't just a story about surviving a storm. It's really a close look at human resilience, that stark contrast between material wealth and spiritual richness, and how steadfast devotion can literally shift the mindset of an entire community.
Now, to really understand the heart of this story, we have to start right here, with this powerful daily chant, Ganpati Bappa Morya. Long before the dramatic events of our story even unfold, these words echoed quietly but consistently every single day in the home of our main subject. This wasn't just some casual saying, it was the absolute foundation of their lives. It set this deeply spiritual and emotional tone that anchored them through their daily hardships.
Okay, let's dive right into Chapter 1, Mohan's unbreakable faith amid extreme poverty.
So, picture this. Mohan's everyday life was incredibly stark. He lived in a small village with his wife and their young son, and they were completely stripped of almost all worldly comforts. We're talking about an extremely small house with crumbling, broken walls that honestly offered very little protection from the elements. Very often, they didn't even have enough money left over to buy food to quiet their empty stomachs. It was tough. Yet, despite that gnawing hunger and the crushing poverty, their devotion remained absolutely constant. Every single morning, before the sun even peeked over the horizon, Mohan's wife would faithfully light a small lamp in the little temple corner of their house, and the whole family would chant together. Their material poverty was dire, sure, but their spiritual life, it was incredibly rich.
Moving on to Chapter 2, the villagers mocked Mohan for his pure devotion.
Of course, you know how it is. Living in a tight-knit community means you are always being observed by others. And there was this sheer divide in mindsets between Mohan and his neighbors. The cynical, practical villagers would just laugh. They'd say, just chanting won't fill your stomach. Or they would mockingly ask, if Ganpati is so kind, why is your poverty not erased? But here's the thing about Mohan. He never responded with anger. He didn't get frustrated. He just possessed this quiet certainty. He would simply smile with incredible, patient trust in divine timing, and he'd reply gently, Bappa gives late but at the right time. It was a quiet peace that the villagers just could not comprehend.
And that brings us to Chapter 3. A fierce storm tests the family's quiet certainty.
All right, so that quiet certainty? It was about to be put to the ultimate test in a sudden, terrifying life-or-death scenario. As nightfall hits, heavy rain and fierce winds just begin battering the village. It's violently damaging homes left and right. The dread is building. By midnight, Mohan's fragile small house is shaking violently under the immense pressure of the storm. His young son starts crying in absolute terror. Mohan immediately pulls his son tightly to his chest, and the family does the only thing they know how to do. They huddle together and start chanting loudly, trying to project their voices over the deafening roar of the wind. And then comes the devastating climax. A massive crack of lightning strikes, and a large section of their broken house completely collapses right around them. They somehow survive the terrifying night, huddled in the dark, just waiting for the morning to reveal the true extent of the devastation.
But guys, what the next morning revealed was honestly, it was an absolute miracle. When the storm finally cleared, everyone rushed over to check on Mohan. The house was utterly destroyed. It was a wreck. But amidst the wet rubble, the small temple corner was perfectly intact. Not a single stone, not a single piece of timber had fallen on the spot where the family was sitting. And right there in the middle of it all, the small clay idol of Lord Ganesha was sitting perfectly safe. The text even describes it as glowing, as if absolutely nothing had happened.
Which leads us directly into Chapter 4. Help arrives from Seth Dhanraj, the richest man in the village.
So, naturally, news of this unbelievable event spread through the village like wildfire. I mean, it was impossible to ignore. And it brought Seth Dhanraj directly to Mohan's ruined doorstep. Standing there, taking in the entire scene, he utters this incredible quote. I have earned a lot of money in life, but never seen such faith. Your devotion has changed me. This right here is the crucial emotional turning point in our story. It's the exact moment where Mohan's immense spiritual wealth finally commands the deep respect of the village's highest material wealth. Dhanraj suddenly realizes that all of his money couldn't buy the peace and protection Mohan found through his pure, simple faith. And this profound realization, it sparks a beautiful transformation in the community. Seth Dhanraj, deeply moved by what he just witnessed, personally decides to fund the construction of a brand new home for Mohan.
But even more heartwarming than that is the change in the neighbors. Remember those villagers who used to laugh at Mohan and mock his daily chanting? Well, they step in with their own 2 hands to help build the house. Because of this newly united, supportive community working side by side, Mohan's beautiful new house is completely finished in just a matter of a few months. Fast forward to the housewarming day. The source notes this incredibly moving visual. The whole village is present, but the people who once threw insults are now standing before Mohan with folded hands, showing him deep, profound respect. Mohan, completely overwhelmed with tears of gratitude in his eyes, walks up to the idol, gently lights his lamp in his brand new home, and simply tells Lord Ganesha, "You never left us alone."
Finally, we reach Chapter 5. The ultimate moral of true faith is revealed.
The whole narrative arc wraps up beautifully through the wisdom of an old sage who had been attending the housewarming ceremony, just watching this remarkable scene unfold. The old sage smiles at the gathered crowd and delivers this profound message: where there is true faith, God himself resides. The text notes that this single realization forever changed the fabric of that village. From that day forward, the sound of the morning chant didn't just come from Mohan's house. It echoed from countless homes across the village every single morning. They had all finally understood what Mohan had known all along.
Which leaves us with the core takeaway of this entire explainer. You know, the story reminds us that miracles aren't always just spectacles to be seen. They are experienced through the lens of unwavering belief. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative question to reflect on regarding your own relationship with belief and adversity. Think about it. Do you look for miracles with your eyes or with true faith?